Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Matt here, and today we're going to be predicting, guessing, whatever you guys want to call it. We will be going over who I think will be all the award winners for the upcoming season, who will be top four in each conference, some surprises, maybe some upsets, who knows. But we're going to get right into it. This will not be a long video per se, but this will be something that we can look back on about April of next year when we'll kind of get an idea of who's going to be where. More importantly, towards the end, I do not have a finals prediction yet, but that's why I say we're going to look back at this around April, because this is mostly for the regular season towards the playoffs. So we're just going to go along the list, and we are going to start with the Rookie of the Year. So it is no question on who will probably be the Rookie of the Year. I believe it'll be Cooper Flagg of the Dallas Mavericks. Not much to really say with him, as I said. He is a guy that could be an all-star within the next two seasons, and he has so much upside. I'm not going to call him generational, but the term has been thrown around a lot. When I look at Cooper Flagg, do I think, was he a better prospect coming out than Zion Williamson? Both went to Duke. Both had high pedigree. I don't know. I think it's possible to say that. I think Cooper Flagg is probably a better prospect coming out than Zion. And Zion was labeled generational, the next LeBron-ish type of player with his athleticism. But nonetheless, he has great IQ. Cooper. He has great IQ. He's a good defender. He could easily help Dallas to a top seed in the conference right out the gate. If he can exceed his already high expectations, the sky is the limit. I think Cooper Flagg will be the Rookie of the Year. However, there is a dark horse candidate that I will be providing for pretty much all my predictions. Kind of like my bold take, which could be another video down the line if you guys want to see some bold predictions. Maybe I'll sprinkle something in. But I'm going to go with Trey Johnson of the Washington Wizards. A guy who I mentioned as a W in my NBA draft winners and losers video, if you guys want to go check that out. He has great offensive tools. He is a flashy player. I know his preseason stats weren't mind-boggling, but they were pretty solid for the situation. And in Washington, he is kind of free to do whatever he wants. I would say the only issue with him winning the award is the existence of Cooper Flagg. And I don't really see a pathway for Trey Johnson to get the award if Cooper Flagg continues to exist, unless he gets injured. As for the Most Improved Player award for the upcoming season, I actually have Andrew Nembhard, the clear second option in Indiana without Haliburton being there behind Siakam now. He's had flashes as a good two-way player. We've seen it in the playoffs. We've seen it in the finals. Leading them, well, helping lead the Pacers to a Game 7 against OKC. Nembhard could easily eclipse 20 points per game without Haliburton. He could lead this team in scoring, depending on how Pascal Siakam does, as Siakam has had some volatile scoring seasons. The only thing I will say that may hinder him from winning Most Improved is the emergence of Bennedict Mathurin, another guy that could win Most Improved, but I'm trying to shy away from that second year, third year leap, even though my dark horse does represent that. But it's just because a lot of other guys in these situations aren't as clear-cut to me as Andrew Nembhard. I believe the betting favorite is Amen Thompson, and I feel like Amen Thompson's just a guy we expect to improve, and that doesn't really signify the importance of the award for me. But nonetheless, I'm going to bank on Nembhard taking that next step forward before Mathurin does, but only time will tell. I will say, for my dark horse, it is Alexander Sarr of the Washington Wizards. Guys, the Wizards are getting love. I know, it's pretty uncommon, but I like Alex Sarr, even though his efficiency was pretty bad his rookie year. But I think he could elevate that efficiency to a way higher mark this season. Obviously, expect an improvement as he continues to develop, but I think his shot selection is going to get a little bit better, and the team is still bad. The Wizards are still bad, but they're a bit better now. I will say, I think that they've definitely improved over the offseason. I don't think they're going to be a playoff team. Play-in, maybe. But depending on how much Alexander Sarr improves, I think he has a chance. It's a long shot, but a chance So again, I'm kind of just picking where I think these guys could improve over the next season. I know, as I mentioned, I didn't want to choose guys that are expected to make the second year leap, but I feel like Alex Sarres kind of went under the radar a little bit. But I'm still going to go with Nembhard as my more likely suggestion. Onto the award I don't really care about that much, but it's the Clutch Player of the Year award. For Clutch Player of the Year, I have chosen Stephen Curry to win the award, a previous award winner. And if the Warriors are healthy, they will 100% be a top seed in the Western Conference. And barring any major decline from the star players, I think Curry's going to lead the way for them. I don't think Curry's going to have a decline. He's a previous winner of the award. He could easily win it again. There's not much to say about the man, the myth, the legend, the best shooter in the game, Steph Curry. I think him winning Clutch Player of the Year makes sense, especially if the Warriors are that top 3, top 4 seed that I expect them to be at. However, my other option, I wouldn't really call it a dark horse, but Luka Doncic is my second pick for Clutch Player of the Year. I think he could surprise a lot of people around the league. Not in terms of his ability, we know how he is on the court, but the Lakers are just kind of put in a weird position. Not many people think they're going to do much, but he could lead them to a top seed in the conference with or without LeBron James, because LeBron will be out for at least the first, I'm going to go ahead and say a month, but we'll see. He is an older guy, of course, but still the GOAT in my opinion. Regardless, I still think Luka can keep them afloat. And he has had so many clutch plays, moments, accolades under his belt that if he doesn't win it this season, him winning this award is just inevitable. And now we are kind of getting closer to the more important awards, in my opinion. Let's go to the Coach of the Year, though. We'll touch on that first. For my Coach of the Year, I will be going with Ime Udoka from the Houston Rockets, a guy that could have definitely won it last year. He was in the running, but did not win the award. But they were the second seed in the Western Conference last year, and it was stacked. And now the team adds Kevin Durant without giving a lot of assets that I would say are, plus assets. I really don't like Jalen Green as a player. So I really don't think them giving him up to get Kevin Durant was much of a loss. And they keep their core guys. I know Fred VanVleet got injured, and I think he is done for the season. I think torn ACL. Listen, Fred VanVleet, he can get you some buckets. I don't think they're going to miss him that bad. Udoka has great coaching pedigree. The roster is talented from top to bottom. Veteran talent, young talent. Amen Thompson, as we previously mentioned. Alperen Sengun. Adding Kevin Durant to that definitely gives the Rockets a top seed in the conference easily. And I think Ime Udoka is going to incorporate Durant very well. And I think he's going to get the award. I think he deserves it. His career has been up and down. Not in the loss column per se, but if you look up some of Ime Udoka's previous actions, not anything overly crazy, but I still think it's worth noting. However, my other pick for this award is going to be JB Bickerstaff of the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons, a great improvement, a 30-game improvement from 2 seasons ago to last season, winning 44 games, giving the Knicks a run in the playoffs. I think they went to 6 games. I mean, am I going to say JB Bickerstaff is the greatest coach in the world? No, but the improvement is there, and they could be another top seed in the conference. The East is weaker than I think it's been in a while with the injuries to Tatum, to Halliburton. To me, kind of, I don't want to say instantly knocks him out of being contenders, but more so the Pacers and the Celtics. I believe the Celtics have a little more talent, even though they kind of cleaned house. I think the Pistons could be top 3 seed. I don't think that would be far-fetched at all. I think Cade Cunningham is just easily rising into the star that I thought he would be coming out of the draft. The sky's the limit, not only for Cade Cunningham, but for the Pistons. JB Bickerstaff is my dark horse candidate to win Coach of the Year. And now we're going to head to the Defensive Player of the Year. For my Defensive Player of the Year, I'm going to be going with Dyson Daniels of the Atlanta Hawks. This dude had a historic 3 steals per game last year. And when I say historic, I don't mean that it was the most steals of all time. I'm not saying all that. But he is the only guy to average over 3 steals per game in the modern era. And when I say modern era, I say at least in the last 25 years. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but this dude has talent. This dude is a beast. He won Most Improved Player last year. He was all defensive first team last year. The Hawks are improved as a team collectively. And honestly, that to me is what's going to help him propel forward and actually get the Defensive Player of the Year. Now, we're going to get to the guy. But I think Dyson, he's not only going to get more recognition because I think the Hawks are going to be better. I think him being the runner-up last year kind of puts him in a position to where not only did he improve over the offseason, I would think, but I think he's set up in a position where he could get the award, especially if he could do like 3 steals. He almost averaged a block a game last year. Not to be a stat merchant, but it is true. If he could average 3 steals and a block a game, that would be crazy. He's already one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. Dyson Daniels, you are my pick to win Defensive Player of the Year. And I know what you guys are thinking. Where is the obvious selection? Where is Victor Wembanyama? He is obviously my other pick. I'm not even going to say a dark horse. He will probably win the award. If out of all of these options that I've given, Wemby is probably going to be the one to outdo my pick. The reason I went Dyson Daniels is because sometimes not only is Defensive Player of the Year unpredictable, but I wanted to be a little different. I do truly believe Dyson Daniels can win the award. But does he have a better chance than Wembanyama? I don't know. I'm going to just say no. But I'm still locking in Dyson as my pick. But Wemby, he kind of just goes without saying. Obviously, 7 foot a million, 7'11", whatever he is, 7'7", I actually think he is. Averaged almost 4 blocks a game. Pretty decent perimeter defender for his size. And he was the clear and cut front runner before his blood clot issue. I mean, almost 4 blocks a game, that is absurd. And I mean, I've seen what he's been doing in the preseason. If he is in MVP conversations and Defensive Player of the Year conversations, I wouldn't be too surprised. And yeah, I'm still going to stick with Dyson Daniels. I may regret that as we get closer to the end of the season, but we will see. And finally, on to our MVP of the year. I know I said and finally, but I do want to go over my standings predictions. But for the MVP, it should be no surprise. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I had him to win MVP last year. And, I mean, did OKC change? Is anything different? Is any part of what happened last year to this year different? Obviously, teams got better over the offseason. But the Thunder are almost the exact same, I believe. And back-to-back MVPs are more common in this era, in this time period, than it's ever been before. Shai is a clear-cut face of the league. OKC, top contenders, obviously. The only things that I think could prevent Shai from going back-to-back is obviously injuries. And I would also say that there was kind of a narrative brewing that OKC is like one of the greatest teams of all time, that, you know, he's got a super team around him. Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, those 2 dudes. I mean, do I think those guys could be star players? Absolutely. And I think they are emerging. They're blooming into that star caliber player. But the thing is, are they going to evolve so much that they prevent Shai from winning MVP? Let me explain. Are we going to see such a drastic improvement? Hypothetically, Jalen Williams averages 27, 28 points per game. Or Chet Holmgren averages 26 and 12. And you got another superstar level player next to Shai that gives the voters a reason to go with somebody else. Those would be the only reasons I would say Shai doesn't win it. Injury or such a substantial improvement from Chet and or Jalen Williams that it just propels him out of the conversation entirely. Like, let's say Shai gets injured for 10 games, Jalen Williams becomes an MVP caliber player because he's averaging 35, whatever the case may be. I'm not saying it's possible. I'm not saying Jalen Williams is a guy that'll average 35, but anything could happen. I think those would be the only reasons that Shai doesn't win the MVP. And for my dark horse selection, it's Giannis Antetokounmpo. I feel like besides the trade saga, this dude just does not get enough recognition for what he has been doing. He has been evolving his game in the mid-range, a little bit from 3. Maybe we'll see that more this season. But Giannis is one of the best players in the league, if not of all time. Obviously, a former champion, a former MVP, former Defensive Player of the Year. But this dude is now the lone alpha on his team once again. Obviously, Damian Lillard was playing second fiddle. But this dude, he is, I don't want to say by himself, but he is clear and cut the best player. No debate. No debate. But the thing is, the roster around him is still capable. It's competent enough. Miles Turner, Bobby Portis, Cole Anthony, who they brought in the offseason. This team could still compete in the weak Eastern Conference. And we've seen Giannis put up numbers to carry his team, will his team to not only the postseason, but to high seeds in the conference. There are two things with Giannis winning MVP that give me doubt, right? One of them is the looming trade request. Is it going to happen? Is Giannis going to request a trade? I don't think so. I really don't, but we will see. But Doc Rivers is their head coach. Doc Rivers stinks, and I will forever believe that. He is the most overrated head coach in NBA history, guys. He has won one NBA championship with the Boston Celtics in 2008. That he has ridden that pedigree for so long. He failed at Lob City. He failed with the 76ers. He isn't doing jack in Milwaukee right now, and he's not going to. And we can even go before that, but again, nonetheless, those are the two reasons Giannis, I don't think, would win MVP. But if Giannis wins MVP, I will not be surprised. He would get my vote if he leads that team to a second seed in the East. But nonetheless, Shai is my solidified, locked-in pick. Giannis, you are my dark horse. I'll take a little victory stroll if Giannis is in the conversation. Maybe he wins the award. But I'm locking in Shai as my pick. Onto the standings. It's not the full standings, but onto the standings, and I guess a light and soft finals prediction. So for the East, I'm going to give the top 4 predictions, and then I'm going to give a team I believe will be most improved. So I guess it's going to be in this order. It's going to be so hard to predict. But I got the Cavs at 1, the Knicks at 2, the Pistons at 3, and the Magic at 4. I don't think those require much explanation given what I said previously and the pedigree of the other teams. So we're just going to move past that. We'll leave it a little ambiguous. I'm not going to go too deep into it. But my most improved team, I'm going to get clowned, for the Eastern Conference is going to be the Philadelphia 76ers. If healthy, that is the question. That is the statement. Can they stay healthy? If they're healthy, blah, blah, blah. They could be a top 4 seed in the East. They could overtake the Magic. They could overtake Detroit. If they're healthy. This is painful. As a Sixers fan, I'm wearing an Allen Iverson shirt for this video. It is sad. I want to see my team competitive. I want to see them make it past the second round. This is not the point of the video. But with the amount of injuries that the Sixers had last year, led them to a disappointing bottom seed in the East. And to me, those are going to be the differences from last year to this year. Barring health, they are going to be the biggest risers in the East. And on to the West, we're just going to keep it going. I got OKC, Minnesota, Houston, and Golden State. And with my most improved teams is going to be the Spurs and the Portland Trailblazers. First, starting out with the top 4. OKC, I got Shai winning. Minnesota, I think Anthony Edwards is going to take that superstar level leap. And I know he's like right there to me. Is he a superstar? Is he not? That's kind of the question. I think so, but we're going to see it tenfold. We are entering a new era. Crazy to say. We are entering a new era, new faces of the league. These are the guys that are going to represent the league for 10 years going forward. The Shais, the Anthony Edwardses, the Cade Cunninghams, etc. I think Minnesota could be second. Second's their peak. I don't know if they're going to be the second seed. I think if I were to look back in my notes and switch it, I would probably have Houston second, Houston second, and then you could flip-flop Golden State and Minnesota. Houston kind of doesn't need much of an explanation at all. As I said, Ime Udoka, Kevin Durant, the team is balling. And for the Golden State Warriors, I think, again, if they're healthy, they're going to be a top seed. They're going to be a contender. And it's no question there could be a lot of differences in that top 4. I don't think OKC drops from that top 4 spot, but you got teams like Denver, you got the Lakers, you got San Antonio, who I'll talk about in a second, even Portland. I mean, we'll go to the Spurs now. Wembanyama being healthy, can he stay healthy? Can he be the MVP caliber player that he kind of flashed last season? I think he will. God forbid he gets the blood clot issue, but as long as he's healthy, that team is a locked-in playoff team, 100%. And the only reason I have them as my biggest improvement, one of the biggest teams for improvement, is just where they were in the standings. I think it was just an injury bug issue, and they should be right back to where they were before, especially with De'Aaron Fox, too. He dealt with injuries last season, and they drafted Dylan Harper. Their guard room is excellent. Wemby is excellent. Spurs are probably going to be more improved than this team, the Portland Trail Blazers, who quietly were one of the better teams post All-Star break last year. They were. Their defense was top in the league. And they added a Drew Holiday, who is still a good defender, by the way, and could easily help with the development of some of the other guys on the roster. I think it will not be surprising if they're a 6th through 8th seed in the conference. We will see. But nonetheless, comment down below what you guys think. Are my predictions dumb? Are they outlandish? What do you guys think is going to happen? Who do you have winning the awards? Comment that down below. And if you haven't checked out some of my previous videos, and yeah, I do apologize for being gone for a little bit. Hopefully we can get back on schedule. But yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.